Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Johnny. I'm just making sure this time the mic is actually recording. Wow, it actually is. Congratulations. I absolutely hate it when that happens, bro. I sat here recording for 30 minutes and none of it was actually recorded, but I'm going to do it again because I have dedicated myself to it. So here we go. Guys, today I want to jump into a couple of things. First of all, the title of the video obviously is the yield that I've brought in through the super rare section and all that good stuff, which I'm excited about sharing with you. It kicked off through a discussion that came in my Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, please go ahead and do so. We are sharing our experiences, our thoughts and ideas in there constantly. Link in the description. But let's start off with Nicholas. Yes, the Sorare man himself has gone ahead and had jumped into a podcast, which sadly was held in French, which is a bit annoying because I really hope that whenever he does stuff like this, it ideally is in English. But today, there is a translation coming in off that podcast and the main talking points from Nacho Heras, who's a great guy. Really appreciate him going ahead and putting this translation in there, which was in Spanish, which I also do not speak. But luckily, we have Twitter to translate. So here are the main talking points he talked about. So I want to share this with you guys because obviously it's very important that you do catch up on stuff like this whenever the owner, the CEO of the company comes out and talks about this. Sometimes you cannot actually catch that since it is in French and all that stuff. So here we go. He says, Sorare is very strong financially and ready for the very long term. Now, first of all, when it comes to that, I've been to a couple of Sorare experiences lately, and I can tell you guys, the people I've met there, the people that work at Sorare, have told me about a couple of things that I personally think sound very good and smart on the side of Sorare when it comes to the future and their financial stability. So basically, he once again confirms that for me there. And then he also says many of the deals with leagues that were signed during the bull market have been renegotiated. Now, this is very important because the bull market in terms of crypto allowed people to just throw around free money, right? That's just how it was. People invested 500, all of a sudden it was worth 5,000. That happened to so many people, and Sorare definitely benefited off it, which is why I truly believe that the first time or the second time that Sorare is going to boom technically is when that free money comes back into the market in the next bull market, which technically has sort of started. Bitcoin has gone from like 15,000 to 40 something thousand already this year, and I do think that is just the beginning. We might have a little bit of a pullback, which is healthy, and then start with the halving of Bitcoin once again, as it usually goes. But that's too much technicalities. I truly think that with the bull market coming up, things are going to be good. But as he says, they have renegotiated with leagues, which I really like because the prices that they were paying back then for the deals with these leagues were insane. These leagues were being offered crazy amounts of money for their licensing, not just by Sorare, but other companies as well, which obviously led to Sorare having to pay a lot more than they usually would have liked to get these licenses because there was a lot of money in the space. Now that there isn't as much money and Sorare has thrived and survived in the bear market of the past 2 years. I mean, thrived is a different concept, but definitely survived, which hundreds, thousands of crypto companies have not done. And I'm not saying they're a crypto company, but they are heavily related to it. It's really nice to see that they are able to renegotiate and make these leagues understand that this is a product that is hopefully going to be here for years to come, and they needed to renegotiate because the numbers were maybe unreasonable back then. So several of those leagues are shareholders of the company and have no interest in seeing Sorare in difficulties. In fact, some increased their shareholdings in the company. Now, I find that very interesting. I never knew that these leagues within their licensing deals could become shareholders of Sorare. Now, that obviously gives them an incentive to basically want to see the product succeed. So I really love that. I had no idea about that. Sorare is one of the 10 Premier League partners and by far the youngest company to partner with them. That means nothing to me. The user base is 80% male and 70% European, which means they are definitely pushing for MBN and MLB because they want to bring in more people from outside of Europe. I would have thought that that number is not as heavily European based, but it truly is. So it's also very interesting that 20% are female. Wow, that's really good of them. I like that. Especially due to the fact that like the game doesn't have the females in the game. So that's very cool. And then we have him saying, Julia will be focused primarily on the product and will not delegate in the short term, which basically means he's very hands-on on the product right now, and basically looking at what is happening through social media, what is happening to the market, what is happening with all these things that are involved in Sorare. And he's basically trying to have an impact himself immediately rather than letting other people do it, which I like because he's the one of the people that have built this company to what it is today. And then he basically says, important announcement regarding gameplay next year. It will affect prizes, supply, and tournaments. This is one of the most important things I've seen in this summary. And in my opinion, thresholds are going to be gone. Yep. I am saying it right now. It is unreasonable. It is actually mind-blowing that every single game week, Sorare is giving out so much money. And the threshold is like the biggest part of it, right? So if we all love Sorare, if we want the game to succeed, if we want the game to have a healthy balance of giving out money and receiving money to go ahead and thrive, bring in new licensing and all that stuff, we need them to be successful. And at the end of the day, even though I might not like this, you might not like this, I feel like thresholds were too easy. So let's take a look at the progress of the threshold system in the game. Since I've come in, initially thresholds were possible where you just jumped into All-Star Rare. I believe that was the league we played in. And you were able to use one common card. So what everyone would do is have like an Alisson common card and then have 4 outfielders playing. And all you had to do was to reach 250 points. Guys, I don't think you understand how easy it was to reach 250 points. It's mind-blowing to even think about the possibility of that right now. With how good I've become on Sorare right now and like building my lineups, 250 with no restrictions and a common card, I crushed that. Every single week I'd reach that so easily. There was no cap. Yes, you could just list Kimmich and all these players in your lineup and just get to 250 plus and you would be getting your 50 euros or whatever that was in ETH. Now that is where we came from. Then we built from there into 5 rare cards. So now you had to buy a rare goalkeeper, which was the most important and most expensive part of your team most of the time. Then they moved from that with no cap but 5 rares into having a cap competition where cap 240 came out. You had to reach 250 points. Then they changed it to 280. Now they're changing it again, which I haven't really understood properly. I need to read through it. But you can kind of tell step by step, Sorare is going away from the threshold being as easily achievable. And probably their main focus for like bringing new users in. I think it's unhealthy if we want Sorare to constantly give out so much cash. I truly believe that we are going to get rid of cap competitions or diminish it to a point where it's not going to be as heavy in terms of payouts anymore on Sorare's side. And I truly hope that they go ahead and use that pool of money, at least the healthy portion of it that they're able to give away without really worrying about their financial situation, and put that into the divisions. As we know, right now, we only have All-Star Rare and Champion Europe Rare, which give out money away from the podium, if I'm not mistaken. So ideally, what we want to have that in Under 23, we want to have that in Challenger, we want to have that in Asia, so that all like top 25s basically give out money as well and entice people to spend more to get the better cards, to get the more expensive cards. And then the demand for those types of players just goes up. And that is what happened back when they introduced the big money cash payouts into All-Star Rare Plus away from the podium. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of the like high value cards have gone up again. So that is something I truly believe is going to happen once more as they hopefully transition into a more sustainable and also more like a here's the jackpot that you could win type of style of gameplay. I think that's probably what we're going to move towards in the future, especially with like the new season cards and all that stuff that might be big again next year as they have done it this year with the Premier League cards and the 500k competition. So looking at all that, those are things I kind of like, even though initially they might not be looking too good for people. But then he says the price situation in the market is far from perfect and we are aware of this. I love the fact that he actually goes ahead and acknowledges the price situation being the biggest issue for current users. A lot of people, mainly like most people have jumped into the game at this level, and now we are down here in terms of price level, and they're unhappy about it. And if you gave the people a chance to say like, okay, we can go ahead and change the game in a way where either your players will double in value or they could go down in value, and that's a 50-50 coin flip. Do you want that, or do you want us to just stabilize the market and just keep it here for years to come? I think most people just would take that stabilization, and that would be very good. I really hope they can get to that point in the upcoming months and possibly years. But then moving on from that, you see other stuff that he mentions here. It is not true that Sorare controls the market price. I mean, it somewhat is with supply, let's be honest. And then he says total commitment to the development of NBA and MLB. Can I be honest? From what I've been hearing from people playing NBA and MLB, it just doesn't look like a product that they're heavily focused on. That is just my personal opinion. I've always been into football, and I initially wanted to jump into NBA and MLB as well, but then I realized I watched too much football already. There's no chance I'll find time to do this as well. And from the feedback of the people that have been playing this game over the past month, year, whatever, it's not been looking that great. And yeah, I personally don't think it was a good idea to jump into NBA and MLB at that point in time. Maybe now at the start of the next bull market, that could have been something, but I feel like it was too early because Sorare kind of spread out their resources into different directions, and that maybe took them off the track of success. So that's something I am not too happy with. It is here to stay, I guess, and we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully you guys playing that will have a great time moving forward, and the game is what you expected it to be. And then he says timing, it was a strategic choice they made since it was a now or never situation, basically where they could have had the licenses or not, and they jumped in. I get it. They took a risk. The full launch of the iOS app early 2024 will be critical for the US market. That sounds really good. I'm excited to see if they actually make it possible to buy players there in the rare divisions as well, not just limited. I wonder if they're going to do that with instant buy or different ways. We'll see how that goes. A consistent and similar experience is sought for the three sports, football, NBA, and MLB. I personally don't care about that. So I only play one of the sports. I do not care what is happening in NBA and MLB. If whatever is changing there has to change in football as well, I don't want that. I want the football product to have consistency and to have the things that are needed to be done in the football product. I don't need the NBA and MLB to make changes that then somehow get implemented in football and it just doesn't translate well. I don't like that, but generally speaking, a similar user experience and UI, that makes a lot of sense, right? That to be able to switch from football to NBA and be like, okay, I know where stuff is, that makes a lot of sense. I'm okay with that. To be long-term leaders is necessary to be strong in the fantasy market in the United States, which is why they're convinced to continue down that path. That makes sense. Rivals will be the best entry point for new users, and marketing will focus on that since with Sorare Pro, it is more complicated. So first of all, Rivals is a great product, but after playing it for like a couple of days, a week, when the international break was on, I don't see an incentive to jump in there as a user that plays the Sorare Pro competitions. So clearly it is not aimed at people like myself. And if you want other people who are new to come into the game and understand what Sorare is about, Rivals makes a lot of sense. I really like Rivals and the way it's set up, the simplicity of it, the availability of like going in there 5 minutes before the game starts and do your lineups and jump into the arena and play against someone and get your Sorare coins. That's good. But they definitely need to find a way to progress people from Rivals into the actual Sorare structure where they become paying customers. And they already do that by suggesting to buy these players on the market when you don't have the limited and you only use common cards. It suggests you to buy the limited items. That's something they are doing already, which is a cool step. It's just a quick click to go past it as a user, but it's a nice way to like tell people, hey, there's more. So hopefully they will do it the right way and actually progress people from Rivals into the Sorare Pro divisions. Now, that wasn't what Nicolas has said. Pretty happy about what he has said right there. That took me 15 minutes already. But here we are, guys. Champion Europe Rare Plus. This is my current game week. Alex Garcia is going to be playing And hopefully, if we get lucky, we can make it into the top 3. There's no chance I can make it into second place, which is something I realized because Surface to Air Missile, my buddy, is just ahead of me in the leaderboards. And he has Alex Garcia super rare outstanding as well. And so I can't catch up to him. I cannot catch up to first place. The man has 507 points. So that's not going to happen. So ideally, if things go well, Valverde from Real Madrid has a terrible game, and Surface and myself move up into the podium places, which could be cool. That'd be really nice if we can make that happen to win ourselves a rare tier 1, and we'll see what comes out of it. I'm open to winning anyone. Rodrigo would be cool because I do have a couple of players in Real Madrid, as you guys know, but obviously nothing's a given. We'll see how Alex Garcia plays, but technically he is always someone that can get me 50 plus, 60 plus by just his AA. So I'm excited about that one. But then to today's topic, my summer strategies. How has everything worked out? How has the gallery done during this period where things have been trending down in price? And how have the purchases worked out for me? So initially, during the summer, I made 2 big decisions. I committed to Girona, I committed to Feyenoord, and I also committed to Bayer Leverkusen. 3 teams that have done really well this year, and it has really turned out to be the right decision. Because if we go to a player like Lucharel Geertruida, for example, who I bought a bunch of months ago for 2,134 euros, and if we go into the rewards that he has brought me in, I was the only owner of this card ever, 10,976. The teams that he was involved in won that much, and his percentage is 2,192 euros, and then 387 euros on top of it in terms of cash rewards. So I bought him for 2,134, and he basically already brought that money back in. Now, this is kind of skewed because of the fact that this Jude Bellingham that I won back then is valued at 4,500 euros at that point in time. That was because his first card was auctioned and I won the second card. So the value was extremely high at that stage. If you look at the values now, obviously the value is much lower. Okay, so 1,414 euros plus 387, which still means that I'm like about to already yield back what I have put in to get these players. And that is only half a season. We still have the second half of the season left, where probably most of these players are going to be sticking around. Now, I've probably chosen the wrong person to make that statement because Geertruida is heavily linked to teams like Bayern Munich in the January transfer window. But we'll see what happens with that. If he goes to Bayern, I'll be freaking screaming and happy. But yeah, so Geertruida has worked out really well. Alex Garcia, I traded for a collective value of about 1,800 euros back then. He himself has brought in rewards back by valued around 1,402 euros plus 270. Now, I think it's much smarter to look at the values then because that is exactly the moment you won the reward at. And if you wanted to sell at that point, this is like the price range you could have gotten yourself. So technically, he already brought back around 1,600 euros and I paid 1,800 for him. So again, another player where things have worked out really, really well. Timber, one of the latest purchases I've made, 1,280, and he has only played a couple of game weeks for me, but has already brought in about 300 euros, 400 euros, and that's really good. He will continue to hopefully yield me a nice amount. His percentage is very high as well because he's a new season card. And then if we look at players like Santiago Jimenez, who was also part of that Feyenoord stack, I bought him for 1,665. First of all, his last sale is around 3,000 euros, so nearly doubled in value, despite the market going down, as you guys know. So it's very cool to see that, firstly. And then it's amazing to see that this card has brought me rewards worth about 1,400 euros, 1,500 euros already. So again, you are seeing a player that has just gone ahead and done really well for me in that first half of the season. And combining all these super rares that I've bought for this upcoming season, technically back then in the summer, for the upcoming season, all these players that I have brought in, they have nearly yielded back the entire value that I spent on them. and some of them have actually gone up in value. And if I combine all of it from the players from Feyenoord and Girona as well, and also Bayer Leverkusen, which we haven't really gotten into, these players have brought in a lot, like a lot. So, for example, Florian Viet, I've held this card for a very long time. He has won me rewards. Just his percentage alone, 1,682 plus 167 euros. And that is already a massive amount. Now, at the time, I paid a ton for this. As you guys can tell, this is a card that I was willing to hold for the long haul. He now has midfield cards, so this forward card is worth even more. So technically, he has already brought in, let's say, 1,800 euros. And his forward cards have been selling for how much? Has anyone been selling the forward card lately? It doesn't really look like it. And, oh, there, someone has. That was a bad sale, my friend. But technically speaking, the forward card sells for a lot more than the midfielder historically. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm very confident that I can get back the value that I invested into Florian Viet at the time. If we look at when I actually bought him, must be all the way somewhere back there. That's like, when is that? Oh, okay. So that is like right in between September, November, around October there, on the 20th October. 3,889 euros was paid. Look at the price, bro. He was going for 8,780. That is so insane to me. It's just crazy. In terms of ETH, it's also one of the most that I've spent on a player. Nearly 3 ETH on a freaking Florian Wirtz. Oh my God. But thankfully, the Bayer Leverkusen play has been working. Grimaldo, who I kept, I knew he was going to be playing for Bayer Leverkusen, and I knew he could do well here. This is a really nice amount to get back, about 1,000 euros we got back from him. And you also got to keep in mind that some of these players that we're winning here, sometimes I keep some of these and they yield back even more. So his contribution, you can't just put it down to this number right here. You also have to think about the cards that these players are bringing in. So that's another thing that we can't really display properly. If we go to Boniface, Boniface I bought for 1,205 euros. He currently sells for how much? About 600, I guess. And he brought in, is that just me? That is just me. He already brought in about 1,100 by himself there. So very, very good stuff with the plays that I've made with these players. And we still have them in the gallery. We're still rocking them out. And I think it's gone well, considering how bad things were going for me initially. I actually have to sometimes sit back and look past the gallery value and just see how the purchases that I've made have been doing for the gallery. Have they been helping me or have they not been helping? And I gotta say, taking a massive step back and not playing the summer period, just keeping a hawk eye on the transfer market and understanding which teams are likely to do extremely well based on the players they have brought in, the coach they have, and all that good stuff. And just pouncing on those opportunities like Feyenoord, like Leverkusen, like Girona, it has all worked really well. So in that sense, I cannot complain about anything. But I can complain about something. And I want to go ahead and put this into the video still, 23 minutes in. Sorry if I'm boring you to death, but I feel like this is an important topic to talk about. So if we go into All-Star Super Rare, my friends, and we go into the prize pool, and you see Super Rare Tier 1, which is the highest tier you can win in Super Rare divisions, right? In the Super Rare division, you can only win at max a Tier 1, which is already stupid. But Nico Williams is the top card on here, guys. Nico Williams. Amazing youngster. Great talent. His Super Rare last sale, 2,000 euros. Okay? The best card you can win in All-Star Super Rare, the most competitive area to play in possibly, where you have to compete everyone from every division, 2,000 euros in value. And then when you go over to All-Star Rare, where you can win stars, you have Jude Bellingham, right? Jude Bellingham is not even first, he's second. Jude Bellingham, the best card you can win in Rare, is costing you about 2,000 euros as well. So here is my massive issue with the Super Rare division. You can win the same amount for coming first in the Rare division as you can win in the actual Super Rare division. Do you understand how just mind-blowingly bad that is? I really hope someone from Sorare watches this and gets a chance to understand that that is not what you want to see as a company. You want to give people a reason to move up, to spend more on your game, right? You cannot be having your best reward in the rare division be worth the exact same amount as your best reward in the super rare division. Now, why is this happening? It is happening mainly because the star tier has become way too big again. I remember a time where Sorare like shrunk down the star pool and everyone loved it. Everyone was excited. We had basically you could only scroll down to around like this area, right around there. This is where it would stop, right? No, now the star tier just keeps going, just keeps going, just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going until you get to players like Jordan Pickford, Atubolu, Ramiro, Tadic. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tadic is a decent player, but like he's not the same anymore. He goes for 450 euros, and his scores aren't as good as they were at Ajax at the moment, right? He's still a good player. He's still good, but that's not a star. That shouldn't be a star. Stars should start right up here, right? Right up here. Emiliano Martinez. How much is he going for? Martinez, goalkeeper of Aston Villa. How much? 892 euros, like nearly 1,000 euros. That is a star. That is the star tier. So why have Sorare made it so large? Why is the star pool so big? I don't get it. Because by making it so big, you're taking away the top tier 1 players, and the tier 1s now at the top are Nico Williamses of this world. That's not good enough. Please, I beg you, Sorare, go back to the old system where their star pool was actually filled with stars, the most valuable cards that you can win in the game. And yes, keep them in the unique division. Make the players that have spent the most money win the star super rares. I am okay with that. That is not my issue. I'm not saying take away the best cards from the whales to win. No, but you have to give people an incentive to go ahead and compete for these types of cards, like, I don't know, Cole Palmer, like players like De Bruyne, who's injured, Yoro, Stengs. How much did Stengs his last super rare go for? Probably not even that much, I would assume. It has gone for 2,200. Like, that's also still not that high, right? So we hopefully get to a point again where half of this star pool drops down again into the super rare divisions where people can actually win these cards again. I really think it's not a good and healthy thing for the game if you can win the best card in rare, it's worth 2,000, and the best card in super rare, it's the same amount, even though rares are minted at 100 a year and super rares only at 10, and by that being a lot more scarce. And you got to give people an incentive to jump up in divisions, not just to play the rare pro divisions and just rare plus, sorry, and go ahead and compete for the best rare cards. You got to put them into the spot where they want to build an entire lineup in the super rare, please. And if you go into under 23, bro, I don't even want to talk about it. So under 23 super rare, if you look at the tier 1s you can win, I gotta be real, guys. It's not looking good. It really isn't looking good at all. Like, we used to have absolute bangers in here, and it once again the pool has just gotten too small, in my opinion. Some of these cards, when you play on the 20 super rare, has to be in there. They just have to be in there. Like, Echeverri is a big talent, but Bino Gittins, how much has his last super rare sale gone for? So Bino Gittins' last super rare sale, 1,360. He's in the star pool. So that's a player you can't even win in under 23 super rare. Let's go into tier 1s. Let's look at El Canus, for example, a player that probably has a bunch more sales. El Canus is a player you can win in there. His last sale, 1,200. Guys, building a super rare under 23 team just because of the goalkeepers alone costs so much. But then what you get in return is like this. Don't get me wrong, good talent, everything, but the pools have become too wide. Please, please. Like, Joao Felix, sure, why not? Just because of notoriety of the player, just because he is one of those top talents that people love. Even his super rare is still 1,600 euros. Like, buying a super rare goalkeeper alone will cost you like 1,000, probably a decent one, 1,500 to 2,000 at least. So I don't think it's in a good spot. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Just seeing alone that the best card in All-Star Rare is worth the exact same as the best card in All-Star Super Rare doesn't feel right. Let me know your thoughts on it, on everything that I've mentioned in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now we'll catch you on the next one. And hopefully this time the audio worked. Take care and peace.